If you're tired of working for someone else or just want to start a side hustle, well, you guys came to the right place, because in this episode, we're going to go over the equipment and materials that you will need to make this possible. And let's start with the equipment, and usually this will be the most expensive part of the business. Well, it actually depends on which vinyl cutter you end up getting, and that's why we have two different options here. The one on the right hand side, which is the Cameo 4, right now in 2024, you can find them for about $200, and I'm talking about the Cameo 4, the 12 inches, because there are different versions which I recommend that you guys get. If you can afford getting a 24-inch, will be a lot better. But I'll get back to this one in just a minute, okay? This one is kind of expensive. This will cost you about $2,000. Honestly, guys, if you can afford this, if you had the money, I would strongly recommend that you guys get the Graphic. We have the CE 6060. Unfortunately, they don't make this anymore. Right now, they have the newer version, which is the CE 7060. Basically the same as a 24-inch vinyl cutter. This one is a very fast machine and it doesn't make that much of a noise. And the best part is that you can cut small pieces of vinyl, which the Silhouette Cameo cannot do. I mean, you can, but you have to use the cutting mat. Now, when it comes to the Graphic vinyl cutter, the software that comes with it is totally free, and it is the Cutting Master 3. But if you get the newer vinyl cutter, which is the 7000, you will have to get the Cutting Master 4 or CM4. The best feature about this vinyl cutter is that you will get the Silhouette Studio, the basic edition, and it is totally free. You don't have to pay a dime for it. So the vinyl cutter with the software, about $200. So you can see why a lot of people would choose this vinyl cutter. If you do decide to get the Graphic vinyl cutter, you will need a professional vector software. This is the one we use, which is CorelDRAW X6, an old version. But this is not the only option. You can also get Adobe Illustrator, and there are other options. I'm not really sure about prices and exactly the name of those softwares, but this one is the one we use for our Graphic. But a little secret, we also use it with our Cameo cutter. This one right now can cost you about $400 to $500. I'm talking about the newer version of this software, which will be about twice the price of a Cameo cutter. You know, the few downsides about this machine is that it can be a little bit slow, and it can also make quite a lot of noise. If you have used a vinyl cutter like this one, you will notice the difference. But if you're not used to anything like this, honestly, you will not be able to tell the difference. I know deciding which vinyl cutter to get can be a challenge, but one thing that, or a few things that you should keep in mind before investing money: make sure that the vinyl cutter allows you to use rolls of vinyl. We have several here. We're going to talk about these in just a second. I mean, according to the size of this vinyl cutter, obviously you're not going to use a 24-inch roll with a 12-inch, but you can use a roll like this. This is a glitter vinyl. Another thing to keep in mind about the vinyl cutter is that make sure that you're not forced to use a cutting mat. Make sure that you can cut anything bigger than 100 inches long. This one lets you cut about 180 inches. That's what I've heard. Could be less, could be more, but you can definitely do something with that size. Now that you have the basic idea about the vinyl cutters, the next material that you will need will be the vinyl. And for that, there are so many different options, but up here we have the main ones that we use. The one on the left side is the HTV, or also known as heat transfer vinyl, mainly for custom shirts, aprons, and things like that. And the one on the right hand side is the Oracle 651, or same for car stickers or vinyl decals, and we'll get to those in just a second. And on this side we have our HTV, or the heat transfer vinyl, and as the name says it, you will need a heat press to apply it. We have the glitter vinyl, and we also have the Cesar Easy Weed, or just a regular vinyl. And the differences, or the main differences, are this one here, the Cesar Easy Weed, you can layer it, although it will not last as long. You gotta be really careful with how many colors you layer, preferably just one color. For this one, the glitter vinyl, you have to be really careful because you cannot layer glitter on glitter. I mean, you can do it, but it will not last unless you do the first layer regular vinyl and then you place the glitter vinyl on top of the regular. That will be totally fine. And up here we have the color guide, and the good thing about the color guide is that you will get all the instructions. Inside of it, you get a sample of each color and get a better idea of what you will get once you place your order. Because if you go on their website, you will get a sample of the colors, but sometimes they don't match. Sometimes their colors are totally different compared to what you will end up getting. And we have neon colors, and that's why I recommend that you guys also get your color guide, especially if you are just starting in this business. And this is for Cesar Vinyl. Now the second type of vinyl, and the one we use a lot, we use this vinyl to make car decals, yard signs, car magnets, vinyl banners, wall decals, door signs, and all kinds of different signs. And this is mainly for flat surfaces, and you will also need a transfer. I'll get to it in just a second. We also have the 751, or you can also get the 951. Those are high performance vinyls, and you can use those on rivets, curved surfaces, and very demanding surfaces. And the same, we have our coloring guide here, same as we did for the other vinyl. And let me show you that like all the different options that they have. I was talking about the 951, 751, and this is the 651. The good thing about getting the color guide, you will also get all the instructions, like the thickness of the vinyl, where you can apply it, temperature, and durability, and all that stuff. Now, to be able to apply your vinyl, even though they're all the same brand, they are Art Tape, Clear Choice, but the difference for this one is the AT60, and then up here we've got the AT65, and this one AT75.1. The 60 and the 65, these are low tag transfers. That means that you can use this for damaged surfaces, like damaged paint, paint that is in really bad shape. You can use either one of these transfers. The adhesive is not as strong as the other one, as the AT75.1, and that's why it's totally safe to use these transfers on that type of surfaces. The only downside about the AT60 and the AT65, when you have a decal that has a whole bunch of different letters, small details, it'll be really hard to pick up from the backing paper. So that's the only thing that you gotta keep in mind. Now, when it comes to the AT75.1, if you are working with a decal that has a whole bunch of letters, small details, it'll be really easy to lift the vinyl from the backing paper. But the only thing is that you gotta be really careful if you are working on damaged paint. This is our favorite transfer, especially when we are sending decals out of state. We use this transfer a lot. For any of these transfers, unfortunately, we do not have any links to Amazon. You can only get them through US Cutter. I'm gonna make sure to leave the links in the description of the video. Also, if you guys are liking this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and also turn on your notifications. You will also need a whole bunch of small different tools. The reason why I have some on this section and others on this side is because the ones on the left, these are optional tools. You don't really need them. It's not like the business will not be able to function without these. I will get back to these in a second. But once you cut the vinyl, you will need something to weed out the extra material, and you can get this through the links in the description. But you can also, if you go to Hobby Lobby, you can easily find a pack of, I think, like 4 or 5 for less than $20, and you will get like 3 really good weeders. 2 of them don't really work, at least for us, they don't really work, but you can go to the local store and find a pack of 5. And you will also need some scissors to cut extra material, and also to cut the backing paper. Of course, when you are applying the vinyl, you will need a squeegee. Try to get a few because they wear out fast. And also, this solution, we strongly recommend that you guys get it, because sometimes when you are applying some decals, you will find some leftovers or some adhesive from old stickers, and this goof off removes them really fast and really good. Also, make sure that you get 2 kinds of tapes. You can use the white tape, but you will also need the blue tape, the painter's tape, especially for very delicate surfaces or damaged paint. Make sure that you get both kinds. And also to make sure that you center and align your vinyl, always get measuring tape. Now I want to talk about these optional tools, and the reason I put this back is because you can use those instead of the optional tools, but I strongly recommend that you guys consider getting these. The first optional tool are the mounting magnets. They make it a lot easier when you have to center the logo, when you are measuring and making sure that it is aligned. When you have to reposition the decal, it'll make it a lot easier. You could also use tape, but it usually makes the process a little bit slower. And that's why we recommend that you get them. Make sure that you get more than 4 because you will need a lot of them. Our second optional tool is the cutting knife. Although you can use scissors to cut the backing paper, but if you want to avoid getting any paper residue, we strongly recommend that you do get this. And the next one is rapid tag, but you can also use action tag. We also have a homemade solution. In a bottle, put about 90% water, 10% rubbing alcohol, and a few drops of dish soap. We use this solution when layering our Oracle 651 vinyl. If it's way too hot outside and if you want to avoid your decal wrinkling, you can also apply some of this solution and that will take care of it. If you do not have any extra hands like we do, we strongly recommend that you guys get the tape application rollers. We use it mainly with our Cameo 4 12 inches because we want to use rolls of vinyl. It makes it a lot easier, especially if we have to use a 15-inch roll of vinyl. It makes it easier to use this with it, but you can also use it to apply your transfer, and you can pretty much use any size. It doesn't have to be the 24-inch roll of transfer. You can also use the little one. If you want to use heat transfer vinyl or HTV, remember that you will need a heat press. You can also make or heat press caps. You will also need a pillow to make sure that the vinyl gets a firm pressure and to get better results. You will also need a Teflon sheet, or you can get a Teflon cover for your heat press. And I want to share something with you guys that changed my life. I forgot how it goes, but it was something like this. My success didn't depend on what I did while I was at work. My success depended on what I did right after work. What did I do with that time when I got home? And was I making the right decision? After work, I would go home and watch some videos about this type of business before I invested the money. I was going through different videos, wanted to get an idea of what we could do and what materials and equipment we needed before investing our money, because it was very hard to get that money. So we didn't want to invest it in something that wouldn't work. And that's why we make these videos, to hopefully help you guys make the right decision. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If you want to support us additionally, make sure that you get your materials and equipment through the links in the description of the video. They will also be on the very first comment. We also have some memberships. If you want to get access to special content, behind the scenes and things like that, make sure that you go to the join button and you will get instructions, and make sure that you choose the right membership that fits your needs. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys until the next one.